there, welcome on behalf of Astro Matrix. My name is Marcelle, and I'm here today to talk to you about Jupiter moving into Aquarius. So this, alongside Saturn moving into Aquarius, is a very potent and revolutionary and powerful period that's happening on the planet right now. And astrologers everywhere have been waiting to see how this aspect is going to be playing out specifically. So there's a lot of talk about it right now. And so Jupiter is moving into Aquarius on the 19th of December, 2 days after Saturn moves into Aquarius. And the reason why I mentioned Saturn, and of course we're here to discuss the impact of Jupiter moving into Aquarius, but Saturn alongside Jupiter moving into Aquarius comes into a conjunction on the 21st, on the day of the solstice of December. And it's a really, really powerful period. As I mentioned, that there has been so much talk and information and exploration about in the astrology world. Not only astrologers that have been fascinated and curious about this period, but a lot of the indigenous tribes such as the Hopis and the American Indians and the Aborigines. So there's a lot of awareness around this. So first I'm just going to give a little bit more information about Jupiter in Aquarius, and then I'll explore a little bit more about this great conjunction that's happening. And then we're going to check out some tarot cards just to see what impact this has for all of us globally. So I always do tarot readings at the end of each video, so stick around for that. So before I proceed, I would like to ask that if you do enjoy our content, please to like and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to leave your comments. Okay, so let's dive straight into it. So this is a really it's part of a cycle. Jupiter moves into Aquarius every 20 years. So it's the first time in 20 years that Jupiter is now moving into Aquarius, and it will be the first time in 800 years or so that Saturn and Jupiter are coming into a conjunction together. So it's very rare and it's very powerful. And the last time it happened, there were really big things happening, like revolutionary shifts that were happening in the collective. So it really marks a very potent, powerful turning point in history. So it's what makes this especially significant is that it's coming out of Capricorn, which is where it's been for some time now, alongside Pluto and Saturn. So if we had to have just Jupiter moving into Aquarius on its own, it would have a certain characteristic. But because it's been accompanied by Saturn, it gives it a different flavor or a different experience. And it also needs to be mentioned that with Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto all having been in Capricorn, we don't experience the full impact of Jupiter in Aquarius until Saturn moves into Aquarius as well around 2024. So, this is what is the true mark and the beginning of the age of Aquarius. So it should also be mentioned that it's a really powerful point when Saturn and Jupiter come together at 0 degrees. There's a conjunction that happens on the 21st, and this is the Great Conjunction. And it basically, a conjunction is when two planets are touching. And what makes this aspect particularly powerful is that it's at 0 degrees. So a conjunction represents something that is unconscious, that has not yet come into form. And you have a sense of what the themes are based on the houses and the planets. But also, when it's at 0 degrees, it means the start of something new, and powerful. And when it is at 29 degrees, for instance, the anaretic degree, it indicates a completion of something. And generally at those points, it's very powerful. So this really is a very potent period. yeah, so as I mentioned, Jupiter moves into Aquarius on the 19th of December, and Saturn would have moved into Aquarius 2 days before that. And then the great conjunction is at 0 degrees on the 21st of December, at the same time as the solstice. Okay, so let's unpack Jupiter moving into Aquarius, and alongside that, it's just to understand that, you know, the traditional explanation for Jupiter is, or the theme of Jupiter, it's connected to the higher mind. If Mercury, which represents the mind, is in Gemini, is connected to Gemini, then Jupiter is connected to the higher mind, and it has to do with religion. It has to do with higher learning, studies, travel, and the wisdom that's acquired as a result of the trial and error of the path that you have been on. It's not information that you put into your head through studies per se. It's the wisdom that comes as a result of the trial and error of life as well. So it also has to do with work, and it also has to do with, you know, how it is that you create your money. So it's related to expansion, and wherever it is in our charts, it brings an immense amount of power, especially depending on what other planets are involved. And so it can be about expansion, but if there is an excess, it can, you know, if there's too much power, it can also be about excess. Too much of something is a good thing. So I would say that the explanation for Jupiter is the highest wisdom of this noble masculine energy. So it's a masculine quality. And it also has to do with law. So if we consider the impact of Jupiter on a global level, how will it affect the structures that we hold within society? How will it impact the law? How will it impact the wisdom of the collective? And so then this brings us to Aquarius, and Aquarius has to do with so many beautiful themes. It's also it's an air sign, so again connected to the mind, and it has to do with community. It has to do with technology. It's a very radical planet. It has a deep love for connection, but there's also an emotional detachment to it. So it's very interesting to watch Jupiter moving into Aquarius, and especially with Saturn following behind it. And that for me represents the situation that's happening on the planet now with COVID. It's the restriction around community and coming together. But let's stick with Jupiter in Aquarius. So I would say Jupiter in Aquarius is about it's about the social reform that's happening on the planet around injustice and inequality. It supports the underdog. It's the radical breakthrough. It's the people coming together on the streets, wanting a more evolved way of operating on the planet, equal distribution of wealth, supporting those that are suffering and struggling, bringing through information and ways of being in the world that support not only a bigger picture but community. It also has to do with technology, especially the internet. So you know, we can see a lot of new innovative ways and movements happening with regards to technology, you know, especially on the internet. So new innovative ways of managing this planet, new innovative ways of us being together in community where we're supporting each other, new financial systems. And it has to be understood that this isn't an overnight thing. It's not Jupiter moves into Aquarius and bang, we have all these new processes in place. It is going to take time. especially for the span that Jupiter is moving through Aquarius. And it's especially important to see where Jupiter and Saturn lay in your chart, because it'll give you a sense of what the themes are that will be playing out for you, where this expansion wants to take place in your chart. And so depending on your sign, what your natal sign is, your sun sign as well as your rising, it won't happen at the same time for everybody, but at some point there's some kind of traction that happens for you where you start to experience a more philanthropic expansion within your world. Perhaps there's more of a pull to community, or more of an awareness of community, or need to help, or need to come together, or to find more sustainable ways of operating on the planet. We're going to have more inventions coming through, more radical ideas that change how it is that we've been doing things previously. With Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto that has been in Capricorn, where it's very much challenged and shaken up the top-down heavy powers within the governmental systems that has led to all this corruption. It's really brought it to the forefront, especially considering that Jupiter is about excess. We're experiencing the last extremes of this excess, of the corruption of power. And so it's a very beautiful time on this planet where we're going to fight for something higher, not only within our own lives, but for the greater good as well. So alongside this, I just want to mention a few things that could help support you with this process. There is Neptune, which is all about the highest wisdom, and if it is projected through the ego, it creates confusion. And what's happening right now is Neptune is in a square to the transiting nodal axis, and the nodes represent where we've come from on this planet and where we're needing to evolve to. So what this does is, having Neptune in a square to these nodes, it creates an immense amount of confusion on the planet. And I think we can all see that. There's so much confusion about what's going on, what's real, what isn't real, where are we heading. And so it's very helpful to apply this higher mind wisdom as a way of transcending this period where things are not clear. So instead of allowing your lower mind to invest or to attach to a lot of what is drama playing out on this planet, see if you can activate during this time of Jupiter moving into Aquarius the decision to choose something higher for yourself, and the uncertainty of what that is, allowing that to be there, and just allowing things to unfold, and instead starting to align yourself with a higher value system that will support you and this planet moving forward. So with Jupiter and Aquarius, on a personal level, it's about how it is that you can expand in philanthropic ways, how it is that you can expand in your wisdom, and how it is that you perceive your reality, your consciousness. It's waking up, it's breaking through, it's radical shifting within your consciousness. And so as Jupiter moves into Aquarius, you will experience perhaps new understanding coming through for you as this progression happens. So obviously we're going to, Neptune will be moving away from the nodes, so that confusion won't be there forever. And in a way, this confusion is necessary, because it's kind of giving us the challenge to really fine-tune where we want to place our awareness, what is most important, instead of getting sucked in. So it's creating some kind of individuation from the noise of the collective, and really coming to your own center and finding a stillness within during this period of uncertainty and fear on the planet. And through this process, your own expansion can happen. So Aquarius, Jupiter Jupiter in Aquarius. Jupiter does have to do with work as well, your career, and it also has to do with money. So, how you may be coming through with, especially because it has a lot to do with technology, and especially because, I will talk about Saturn shortly, but we're still going to have restrictions, but it's finding new and innovative ways of operating online, and possibly you may find yourself moving in a new direction with your career, with your all-round expression, that allows you to tap into this new way of moving on the planet, where we're becoming more connected as a community around the world through the internet. So you may also find with Jupiter in Aquarius that your finances are more unpredictable, because, in traditional astrology, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, but in that Hellenistic astrology, but in evolutionary astrology, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is all about shock and disruption, but breakthrough. It wants change, it wants transformation, it wants breakthrough. And so it just needs to mention that Jupiter moving into Aquarius isn't going to be on its own. As I mentioned, Saturn is following behind, and it's coming into this conjunction on the 21st. And so it's almost, if Jupiter is the father energy, then Saturn is the grandfather. And they're two opposite energies, because Aquarius, or Uranus ruling Aquarius, is all about liberation and breakthrough and expansion with Jupiter. Saturn in Aquarius Saturn is the restrictor. And so in a way, these two can work together. We can experience this higher wisdom, we can experience this expansion through hard work. This is what Saturn wants. It wants hard work. It wants responsibility. It wants structure. It wants some kind of consistency in a balance with Jupiter. And when you can, through this process of trial and error, bring these two together, where there's an elevation from how it is that you perceive your situation, your wisdom, your work situation, how it is that you move in the world within your community, that's when the results happen. That's when that expansion can fully happen. So so we've got this conjunction happening on the 21st at 0 degrees. So it's a very, very powerful period, and it does bring a lot of uncertainty. And because Saturn is there, we are going to continue. I feel that the contraction and the restriction around the planet will continue, simply because Pluto is still in Capricorn, and Pluto has to do with power and the corruption of power within the governmental systems in Capricorn. So that Aquarian quality of, especially with Jupiter, of expansion cannot fully happen properly, because we're still under the wrath of these powers that may be. But inevitably, potentially, where this is heading is a whole new paradigm on this planet, which we can't actually imagine yet. And that's why I say it's not a quick process. It's going to take a period of 20 years to unfold. But it's moving us into a new paradigm on this planet that does involve community and higher wisdom and a more heart-based philanthropic expression that supports a bigger picture, as opposed to an imbalance of power and resources and finances that are currently playing out on this planet at the moment. So, as always, I do a tarot reading, and I've got 3 cards here today that I'm going to be working with. Actually, I've got 4 cards. And so, we do offer these readings on the site. So if you want to go into Astromatrix, you can take this specific reading and personalize it for you specifically to see what Jupiter in Aquarius holds in store for you. We're also going to be offering readings around that, so if you want to go more in depth with what this period may mean for you, reach out and book a reading. But for now, I'm going to be doing this reading on behalf of the collective of the planet, on the planet. So again, I encourage you to look in your chart to see where these themes are playing out for you. And because, it has a lot to do with higher wisdom and learning, and also to do with work, you can see what area of your chart will be affected and how it's going to impact you. Okay, so the first question here is, where am I needing to, I am a little bit blinded by the light. Where am I needing to unite with my community? Where am I needing to unite with my community? The next question is, where is expansion wanting to happen for me? The third question is, where am I needing to explore higher wisdom? And lastly, where is Jupiter in Aquarius? What is Jupiter in Aquarius trying to teach me? So this is a reading for the collective. This is a reading for collective to do with Jupiter moving into Aquarius. Reading for the collective to do with Jupiter moving into Aquarius. Conflict, tension. So remember, Jupiter right now is still in Aquarius, in Capricorn, and it's very close to Saturn. And we've got these very strong squares that are close to happening with Mars. So there is a lot of disruption that's happening on the planet right now, especially because there's so much confusion. So let's find out. Okay, so the first question is, where am I needing to unite with community? Where am I needing to unite with community? Okay. So just by the way, the theme of the reading is Page of Swords. And Page of Swords talks about, I'm just going to put that over there, I'll get to that now. Okay. Where is expansion wanting to happen for me? So the next question is, where is expansion wanting to happen for me? The next question is, where am I needing to explore higher wisdom? Where am I needing to explore higher wisdom? Okay. And what is Jupiter in Aquarius trying to teach me? What is Jupiter in Aquarius trying to teach me? Okay, beautiful. Okay, so the first question, where am I needing to unite with community? And we have the Two of Cups, and the Two of Cups in reverse. So Two of Cups in reverse, and I touch my heart as I interpret this card. Two of Cups in reverse talks about discord with regards to unity. It shows that there isn't unity, that the unity is not happening, or it's people are not able to unite, and because of this, we cannot come together as unity. We're still too self-absorbed. A lot of the indigenous tribes have such a deep understanding and connection to what community represents. I am because we are is what Ubuntu means. And, not everybody is designed to be in a community, but it is about finding ways, I feel, where we are starting to come together with others in new ways beyond the old way of doing things, where we're not just thinking about ourselves or our immediate family, but realizing that until the union within ourselves can shift, the union out there with others can't shift. And it's so important for us to be in community, to understand ourselves better. It's through that mirroring that we experience our deepest learning. And right now, that isn't able to happen. And so it's interesting, we are in lockdown. We have many parts of the planet are in lockdown, and it's kind of creating that separation. And so another reason why Jupiter in Aquarius is about technology, it's about the internet. New innovative ways are going to come through, allowing people to connect more in community through the internet. So that's not going to stop things. So yes, again, I feel like it's becoming conscious of how it is that you don't allow union or community to happen. And that is for everybody on the planet. Where is expansion wanting to happen for me? So we've got the Eight of Wands over here. And I feel like this is a grounding card. Okay. We've got these rods coming from the heavens, from the clouds, the ether, from the air, which is the higher wisdom. And these rods are coming all the way down to the earth. And it's coming down fast. And it's about taking what you've learned, this expansion, taking this higher wisdom, what you learned, and actually applying it now, putting it into action. So, this is, and if there's more that you need to learn, keep applying yourself, keep expanding your understanding and awareness. If change is something that you really want, if expansion is something that you really want, if you really want to reap the benefits of Jupiter expanding as a result of the hard work from Saturn in Aquarius, then it's about cultivating this higher wisdom and bringing it into action. It's one thing reading and learning so much, but if you're not actually grounding it by putting it into action and living it as a truth, then it's a waste of energy. So the next question is, where am I needing to explore higher wisdom? And we've got the Eight of Cups, and the Eight of Cups is all about walking away from things that no longer emotionally serve you. From projects, from situations, from people that no longer emotionally serve you, saying thank you for the lessons and the wisdom, goodbye. I move in a new direction now. So it's starting to choose situations that bring you higher experiences, more evolved experiences. It's about no longer settling for how it is that you've always done things in the past. It's about choosing new ways to move and be in the world that serve a higher purpose for you. So the last question is, what is Jupiter in Aquarius trying to teach me? And I've got the Six of Cups here, and the Six of Cups is a card of sharing, and it's a card of sweetness, it's a card of exchange. And it's just a very sacred moment between these two people where there's this exchange happening, there's this sharing that is happening. And that for me is really beautiful. And I just want to bring it to, and yes, if I think of Jupiter in Aquarius, I think of, getting out there and the social reform that wants to take place, the injustice that is out of balance on this planet, starting to get involved from your heart in situations that bring a sweetness, bring a sharing to the equation, and bring a support and a helping and a reaching out and connecting. So it's very community or connecting based. And I just want to bring it back to the theme of the reading, which is the Page of Swords, and then the card that fell out, which is the Five of Wands. And the Five of Wands talks about this conflict that's happening on the planet, the separation that's happening on the planet. And the Page of Wands is talking about a new way of seeing how it is that we are at conflict with each other, how it is that we create the Two of Cups in reverse, how it is that we don't allow the union. What are how is it that we move through the world where we sabotage or isolate or cut people off, or we are inclusive instead of involving everybody. And so there's new awareness that's coming through. We're going to start learning new ways of of coming together and working with each other and being with each other. That will move us away from this conflict where we're not all on the same page because of difference of race or difference of religion or difference in economic wealth, social status, and it's lessening that divide where we all become equal. And so I feel that that's what Jupiter in Aquarius is bringing, slowly. It's the expansion that it's supporting. So that's really exciting, and it's not going to be entirely easy, and it's not going to be overnight, as I mentioned. But once again, with all the challenges that come with it, we always have a choice what we choose to align with and attach with. And yeah, so I wish you all the best with this beautiful transition that is happening. I really do encourage all of you to consider joining a meditation on the 21st, because it's a very powerful day. A lot of, as I mentioned, indigenous tribes are doing all kinds of ceremonies, and there's a lot of meditations happening all around the world online. You can actually go online and see what's happening, and it's a really monumental time in history to align with all of these energies that are brewing up, that are praying and expanding awareness, praying for expanded awareness and elevation on this planet collectively. So again, thank you for your support, and if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any comments to share, or what's been coming up for you, or if you can feel these energies transforming already, please do share. We'd love to hear from you, as we always do. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.